Rutgers Basketball just missed the NCAA tournament with 2 top 5 picks on their team. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Rutgers Basketball has not had sustained success since the 1970s. They have made it to March Madness just 3 times since 1991, and 2 of those appearances came in 2021 and 2022. But that was all supposed to change this season. The Scarlet Knights had an unusually good recruiting class. It ranked 4th in the country just behind Duke, Alabama, and Arkansas. They brought in the number 2 and 3 ranked recruits in Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper. So let's take a look at how their 2 stars performed and see what caused this team to have such a disappointing season. They came into the season ranked for the first time since 2021. They were picked to finish 7th in a loaded Big Ten conference, a conference that eventually saw 8 teams make March Madness. So let's start with the positives. Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper did what they were supposed to do. Bailey was the number 2 overall recruit and the number 1 small forward in the class. He played his high school ball at McEachern High School in Georgia, a perennial powerhouse who featured players like Isaac Okoro and Sharif Cooper in the past. During his senior year, he averaged 33.4 points, 15.5 rebounds, and 3.9 assists, leading his team to a Class A title. He was named the Georgia Gatorade Player of the Year and a McDonald's All-American. Both of his parents played college ball, and his aunt was a member of the Team USA 1996 Olympic squad that won gold. Ace eventually picked Rutgers over schools like Tennessee and Auburn, and he definitely lived up to the hype his freshman season. He stands at 6'10" and can do it all. He's an athletic freak that can also shoot the ball really well. During his freshman campaign, Bailey averaged 17.6 points and 7.2 rebounds. He did this while shooting 46% overall and 34.6% from 3. And Jonathan Wasserman of Bleacher Report currently has him going 3rd overall in the NBA draft. And he's being compared to the likes of Brandon Miller, Michael Porter Jr., and Rashard Lewis. He looks to be a really good NBA player in the future. And both he and Harper were named to the All-Big Ten freshman teams. So now let's talk about the other star of the team, Dylan Harper. He's the son of 5-time NBA champ Ron Harper, who was a fixture on the 90s Bulls teams. And Dylan's brother Ron Jr. was the best player on those Rutgers teams that made the tournament in 2021 and 2022. Dylan was the number 3 rated recruit in the 2024 class and picked Rutgers over schools like Duke, Indiana, Kansas, and Auburn. Harper is from Ramsey, New Jersey, which is about an hour north of Rutgers. And obviously people around the area were hoping he would stay in his home state to play college ball. He played his high school ball at Don Bosco, which is one of the top prep schools in the country. He was the Gatorade High School Player of the Year in New Jersey, won MVP of the Jordan Brand Classic, and MVP of the McDonald's All-American game. Individually, he had a great first year at Rutgers. He averaged 19.4 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. And he did that while shooting 48.4% and 33.3% from 3. At 6'6", he has elite size for a guard. He's a lefty who can get downhill easily and finishes really well around the rim. And only averaging 4 assists per game as a lead guard may seem concerning, but there were multiple reasons for that. Jonathan Wasserman of Bleacher Report currently has Harper going 2nd overall to the Jazz in his latest mock draft. His finishing and defensive playmaking are listed as pros, and they have his comparisons listed as Kobe White, De'Aaron Fox, and Jalen Brunson. And NBA scouts are all over him, because Harper had some electric moments this season. Harper looked like a star from the jump. In 4 out of 5 of his first college games, he scored at least 20 points. Then, in Game 6, he dropped 36 points against Notre Dame. And then the very next night, put up 37 points against a loaded Alabama squad. And that made him the first freshman in over 20 years to score 35-plus points in back-to-back games. He also posted the first triple-double for a Rutgers player since 1983. So with 2 players as good as Harper and Bailey, how do you miss the tournament? First of all, recruiting around the Rutgers program had not been good for the past few seasons. Since 2020, the program had only pulled in 2 4-star recruits. One was Clifford Amori, who was from New Jersey but had transferred to Alabama before the season started, and the other was Gavin Griffiths, who transferred to Nebraska. So with it being so wide open, maybe you ask yourself, how has Rutgers done in the transfer portal? And the answer to that is, not so great. They've grabbed just 2 instant impact guys over the last 3 seasons. The first was Cam Spencer in 2022, who would average 13.2 points per game, and then left for UConn the next year and won a national championship with the Huskies. You might recognize him as he's now with the Memphis Grizzlies in the NBA and recently got under Kevin Durant's skin. And the other impact transfer was Jeremiah Williams from Iowa State, who averaged 12.2 points last season but took a step back with Harper and Bailey in the lineup this year. And in an area that's as talent-rich as New Jersey is, it's hard to believe that they struggle to recruit this much. In Jersey alone, behind Harper in this class, there was Tahad Pettiford and Billy Richmond. Pettiford is at Auburn, who is a 1 seed in the tournament, and he has been going off. And Richmond has been a key piece on that Arkansas squad, who is currently in the Sweet 16 after knocking out Kansas and St. John's. The New Jersey class just a year before had guys like Aaron Bradshaw, DJ Wagner, Mackenzie Ngakpo, and Simeon Wilcher, who all elected to go elsewhere. And if they could just keep some of these high-rated players home in the future like they did with Harper, it could do wonders for the program. And not even just that, but if they could pull guys from neighboring New York or Pennsylvania, that could yield major success. But unfortunately, Rutgers hasn't been able to do that, and you can see it reflected on their record and how the season ended. And outside of Harper and Bailey, no other player averaged more than 10 points per game, and those two were also the team's leading rebounders. Together, they combined for 37 points per game, which was 48% of the team's points. The signs for this team to struggle were there early. In late November, they went to Kennesaw State and lost, a team that finished 4th in Conference USA. And then a few days later, they play against Alabama, who's currently in the Sweet 16 and only lose by 5. So it's hard to tell what could be when this team was so up and down. But there are other reasons why Rutgers didn't make March Madness or have the level of talent they needed to compete. And like I mentioned earlier, the Big Ten was really talented this year and sent 8 teams to the NCAA tournament. Michigan State, Wisconsin, Purdue, Maryland, Michigan, Oregon, Illinois, and UCLA all made the big dance. And Rutgers went 2-8 against those schools. And the other issue is NIL. College basketball basically has its own free agency these days. If you don't have the money to pay players and get the top talent, then you're not going to be successful. We're seeing it right now in March Madness, where no mid-majors have even made the Sweet 16. After each season, the big schools are just plucking the best players from mid-majors across the country. And across all of the data that I could find, it seems that Rutgers is near the bottom of NIL money in the Big Ten, which means they're nowhere near the amount of money the SEC schools are throwing around. And just like I pointed out earlier, many of the best players in New Jersey are electing to go to schools that throw around this money. But with Harper and Bailey doing so well this year, does this show recruits that they can come to Rutgers, show off their talent even if they don't have a great record, and still make the league and be a top pick? Maybe those two doing so well will change the trajectory of the Rutgers program. Where do you think Rutgers should go from here, and how do they secure a better future for the basketball team? If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe and drop any ideas you have for a video in the future. And thank you for watching.